Hey guys, welcome to GUIs. So I'm going to make a new Java project and I'm just going to call this whole project GUI, which doesn't mean like GUI, as in like, oh, I touched something and now it feels GUI. But GUI is graphical user interface. So I'm going to make a new class in here and I'm going to just call it GUI again. Check my public static void main. So what a GUI, or graphical user interface, really is it creates a window. Like when you want to use Microsoft Word, you just open Word. You don't open the Word project and operate it down here in the console like we've been doing. You actually use the program. So what we're going to be learning how to do today is actually setting up a window to open so for our program to run in. And we're not going to be using the book for this one because the book doesn't do it in the same way that you would actually need to use. So we're kind of doing our own thing for this lesson. So interface is something like the window that Java or Eclipse is running in, or the scroll bar over here is an interface, or your mouse is an interface for clicking. Now, just like with using scanners to interact with the keyboard, Java has a class already built in the program to do it, but we have to import it. So we're going to come up and we're going to import java.x.swing.star because there's a lot of swing options. We just want to make sure we get them all. Not that many more if we take in the star. And swing actually imports JFrame and JPanel, which we'll talk about when we're doing our project. Now, JFrame and JPanel are just the window. So we also want to have some say over what it looks like. So we're going to import java.awt.star. And this is so we can change the color and the container sizes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a new JFrame. JFrame is just a blank window. So like if you're looking at your computer right now, your internet is in a window, Eclipse is in a window, if you have Word open, that's in a window. Those are all windows. So JFrame is going to open a new window, and this is just like a variable type. You can name it whatever you want. So I'm going to name it the GUI, and I'm going to say is equal to new JFrame. You guys are probably kind of sick of seeing this. So we have a new one or a new type, and then we have a new over here on the right side. So it's a fairly common setup in Java. So we just created our very first JFrame. So now we're going to put title. So like if you look at Eclipse, the title of this window is java-GUI/src blah blah blah. That's the name of that window. So what we're going to do is we're going to call on the GUI, which is what we named our JFrame, set title, and I'm going to name it first GUI program. So whatever you want to name it, you can put in here in the quotes, and that'll just pop up. So now we have a window, but we haven't told it to do anything with that window. So we have to tell it how big we want it to be. So we're going to do the GUI set size. And then you see in there, I'll make popped up with width and height. So this is in pixels. So I'm going to make it like 300 by 200. So now if you look at any window, so if we look at our window for Eclipse right here, we have the name right here, which we've already set. But you notice on the right side, we also have the ability to close our window. We have to do that with our GUI too. So we have to give our user an option to close the window, because otherwise it's just going to be open forever and ever and ever, amen. So one of the lines you'll need to remember is we're going to call them the GUI again, because that's what we named it. Set default close operation. And then open parenthesis and say JFrame. And then right here, that very top option, exit on close. So that means that whenever they close the window, Java stops running the program. Okay, so I put a couple of remarks in here so we know what's going on. Okay, so we have a window, but we don't have anything inside of it. So all we've really created is, you see like this line here, that's all we've created, is just a window. We haven't put anything inside of it. So what we need to do is fill the window with a panel. So that's where JPanel comes in. I knew you were so excited about it, just on the edge of your seat. So I'm going to call it panel and new JPanel. So exactly like before, we have a JFrame with the new JFrame, and now we're creating a panel to fill that JFrame, and it's called new JPanel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say panel, and it's not pane 1, panel. It just looks like pane 1 because of the font, but it just says panel. Do that. Set background. And then you're going to put in a color. So this is where you put in like computer lingo colors, like magenta will work. Magenta works just fine. And then, let's see, it's saying that there's an error though. Because magenta is like pi. You know, with pi, you can put math dot in front of it. So for any colors, you put color dot. And so then it picks up, and look, it gives you suggestions for colors you can use. So like blue is okay, cyan is okay, dark gray is a thing you can use. So you can kind of scroll through and see the color options that you have. There's not a whole lot, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to call on another new type, which is called a container. And I'm going to name it pane. So my container pane is going to be equal to the GUI, which we named up top, dot get content pane. And then we're going to add our panel to this pane. So what this is doing is it is putting together all of the things we just created. So we created a window with the GUI. We created a panel to fill that frame, and now we created a pane that's basically meshing together our window and our stuff inside the window. So that's what pane is. So now the one more line that you guys need to do, and it's the GUI dot set visible, then put it as true. So this makes our whole program actually run. So go ahead and click run. Oh, and see what pops up. Your first GUI program, and it just filled the box with pink. It's very exciting. So I know this seems like kind of a lot for you guys, but what I want you to do now is I want you to play with the sizes, and I want you to play with the colors, and so that way you can kind of get a grip of what those are and what they do. So this is the end of part 1. Play with those colors, and then when you're kind of getting a handle on it, you can go on to video 2.